Okay, I'm back. This is video number two for this week. Now that you know that you have narrowed your topic and you've come up with three main points that you think are viable, and it sounds like they are. Okay, using the example that I suggested. Now it's time to arrange those main points in the proper order. Now, I find that instinctively, we probably have a pretty good idea by looking at main points to determine that that one sounds like it should be number one, and this one sounds like it should be number two, and that would be number three then, okay? But it would be certainly advisable for you to know and understand what the organizational patterns are. So let me share the screen and let's get into it. Okay, these are the organizational patterns that we're going to deal with in this video. Chronological, or what I like to call a time order, spatial order of intensity, problem solution, cause and effect, and something that we call special topical. Okay, the first one is called chronological, or I like to call it a time order. And that's anything that's in a time sequence or anything that's in an order sequence. Here's an example. Okay, here's a specific purpose: to inform the audience about how to use a compost bin. Okay, this comes right out of a textbook that we used a few semesters ago. It's not your current textbook. Step one, select the right bin. Step two is the next in line, is find the best location. Step three, steps to maintain the sweet smelling. I think that would probably be pretty important. And then step four, you use it. Okay, you can see that that is an order sequence. All right. If it's a time order sequence, a time order category, then the next one would be a time sequence. And the specific purpose is to inform the audience about Space Shuttle. You know, I'm not particularly admiring of that specific purpose. I don't think it's specific enough. Let's look at the example and then let's rewrite the specific purpose. Okay, in the 1970s, the foundation years, and then the 1980s, and then the 1990s, and then the 2000 to 2010. You can see that that's a timeline. That's a time sequence. Okay, now let's look back at the specific purpose and see if we can improve upon that. I might suggest this: to inform the audience about the significant milestones in the evolution of, or the development of, or in the progress of, or in the life of the space shuttle. But significant milestones would be a better example of a specific purpose. Okay, let's move on. A spatial relationship. That's anything that is spatial. That could be top to bottom, bottom to top, left to right, north to south, east to west, etc. How about, I'm going to talk about the agricultural centers of the United States, starting with the wine region on the West Coast, moving through the Great Plains, producing all of the grain for the country, and winding up with the apple orchards of New England. And that would be a west to east spatial relationship. Okay, now here's the specific purpose: to inform the audience about the Grand Canyon. Once again, I'm not particularly admiring of that specific purpose. It is a spatial relationship, north, inner, south. But how about if we rewrote it to say this: to inform the audience about the significant geographical characteristics of the Grand Canyon from the north rim to the south rim. That would be a better example. Okay, a causal relationship. This is where one thing leads to another. Okay, and the example that I'm going to show you came out of the textbook that we used a while ago, and it was during the 2008-2009 recession. To inform the audience about the causes of the current economic crisis. Well, what started it? Real estate boom, drive prices up. Okay, bank losses drain capital. Well, why did the banks drain capital? Because people were issued mortgages who, quite frankly, couldn't pay for them. They didn't read the fine print, or there was fine print that indicated that the interest rates would raise significantly. People walked away from them, foreclosures. And then, of course, the recession began. Okay, number one leads to number two leads to number three, a causal example. Okay, order of intensity. Now you could arrange this from least to most or from most to least. Now this would be actually a persuasion speech because it's asking the audience to agree with something, but it is nevertheless a order of intensity. Okay. Obesity can directly impact your everyday life. What happens then? Obesity has dire consequences, and then you die. Okay, so that's order of intensity from least to most. Okay, problem solution. This many times is used in a persuasion speech, and usually there are only two main points. Here's the example. Specific purpose: to convince, persuasion, that the artificial sweeteners are dangerous. Here's the problem with artificial sweeteners: dangerous side effects. Solution: don't take them, don't eat them. And that would be problem solution. And then we have what's called topical, or I call sometimes special topical, where there's a strong division within subtopic. Each main point addresses a different subtopic, okay? All subtopics are logically connected to the main topic. All right, here's the example. To inform the audience on techniques to improve schoolwork, organization, time management, mental focus. It's not a time order sequence. It's not a spatial sequence. It's not a causal. It's not problem solution. It's not order of intensity. Each one of them, however, supports the topic or the main the topic of your speech, and that's an example of a special topical. Okay. So those are the organizational patterns. Let's look back at our speech on the predator fish in the Amazon, and we have three of them. We have the piranha, we have the bull shark, we have the giant catfish. Now, is there a time order sequence? I don't see one. Is there a spatial sequence? Not unless piranhas are in one part of the Amazon. No, I don't think so. Is there a causal relationship? Does one of those cause another? Nope. Okay. Is it a problem solution? No. Is it a special topical? Well, it might be a special topical because you could talk about those in any order, and they both support the topic of your speech. But I'd play around, I think, with order of intensity. Now, if we take those three dangerous fish, if we started with the piranha, they can be deadly, okay, but it takes an awful lot of them, and they're really small, okay. And then we take the giant catfish. They have been known to take a life. They're pretty, but the bull shark is known as a man-eater. Okay, so I might suggest order of intensity, and it could be starting off with the piranha, going to the giant catfish, and winding up with the bull shark. Okay, that's a possibility, but the fact of the matter is that you could talk about those three in any order. But if you established that there was an order of intensity with your audience, it might help them to focus on that a little bit better. Okay, so those are chronological orders, organizational patterns. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Those are organizational patterns, and I will post those for you to read as well under supplemental material. Okay, so that's it. That's the second video and the last video for this week, and we'll catch you again next week. But please go through the rest of the module with the supplemental material with the assignments, okay?